Hi, my name is Esther and welcome to Slumcat Munchies. I have long been enamored with Indian cuisine, and two of my most favorite dishes, Saag and Dal, and please, many apologies if I mispronounce anything, and feel free to educate me in the comments as I am eager to learn. But Saag is greens, usually mustard, spinach, fenugreek leaves, masala. It can be made with any variety of greens, and the recipes differ as widely as the cooks, so feel free to use whatever you like. Dal is often split peas, yellow or red, or chickpeas, but any bean can be made into, almost any bean can be made into delicious dal. But it is the spices and aromatics that give these dishes their potent and depth of flavor. And after amassing a collection of my favorite spices, I am able to imbue whatever beans and greens I happen to have on hand with those yummy flavors. So let's get into it. I have already started here on the stove some onions in 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil and 1 tablespoon of ghee. And ghee is just clarified butter, and you can substitute butter. That is totally fine. Butter is always good. So I have sauteed them until they are nice and translucent. And let me try to get a better angle so you can look down into the pot a little bit more. Okay. So yes, here we are with our translucent onions. And the first thing I'm going to add to it is 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. We're going to let that get fragrant. Saute lightly for just a second, and then we are going to get into said spices. Alright, so here they are. I have here 2 tablespoons of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom, 1/2 teaspoon of ground peppercorns, and 2 bay leaves. And that's just going to go right in there. Being careful not to get it everywhere, Esther. Okay. And we are going to fry these spices, lightly toasting them to allow them to bloom and get really fragrant. Toasty, get a toasty depth of flavor in those spices. I need to turn my burner up just a little bit to like medium low. Okay, and there they go, and it'll start to get thick and somewhat dry as the spices soak up the oils that are going on in there. So we'll just let those toast for just a second longer. And then once they've gotten a little bit dry and toasty, saturated with those oils, I'm going to go in with 3 cloves of garlic. And we're not going to let that get too brown, as garlic tends to get bitter as it gets brown. So I'm just going to mix that in and get it going with everything until the aroma of garlic kind of fills the air with those toasty spice notes that are going on as well. Okay. And up next, we have 2 cans of chickpeas with their juice, and they are going to go right on in. There we go. As well as, and I almost forgot, I have one hot chili here. This is actually a pretty spicy jalapeno that I've removed the seeds from, and I'm going to add that in as well. I'm going to get those all mixed together and combined. Also, you can add some crushed tomatoes here if you have them on hand. These are all kind of pantry staples, and it's an easy thing to kind of throw together with whatever beans, greens you have going on in your household or that you favor. So we are going to bring this to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer and let that simmer. Make sure those bay leaves are down in the juice. We're going to let that simmer for 30 minutes. So I'm just going to set a little timer here so I don't forget. And then we're going to move into our saag, and that's going in this big pot here. Here we are. And I have the 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil and the 1 tablespoon of butter going on in here. The butter and greens together are delicious, so I like to put that in there. And then we are going to add 1 medium onion, and we are going to saute till transparent, just like before. I'm going to get all that onion. Alright. And we'll be right back once that has gone transparent. Alright, our onions have cooked down. They're nice and transparent, a little bit browned. Oh, and we're going to go in with ginger next. 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger. Straight in there. We're going to let that cook and sizzle a little bit. Let the flavor get moved throughout and toasted lightly. And then we're going to go in and bloom our spices for the saag. And the spices for the saag are 2 teaspoons garam masala, 1 teaspoon mustard seeds, half a teaspoon fenugreek, half a teaspoon turmeric, half a teaspoon cumin, half a teaspoon coriander, and a half a teaspoon of peppercorns ground. And in they go to be toasted. Wow, you can really smell it as soon as they hit the heat. That garam masala is so yummy smelling. Rich, earthy. So we're going to let those toast down, get a little bit dry in the pan here and soak up all that oil. Get nice and fragrant. Alright, now we're going to add our garlic. Just like last time. Get it in there. Aren't going to let it go too long. We don't want it to get too brown again. Alright. Get that thoroughly mixed up and toasted. And then I'm going to add 1 14.5 ounce can of crushed tomatoes. And this is going to nicely deglaze our pan and get all those nice little toasty brown bits, the fond off the bottom. Get that thoroughly mixed in there. smells delicious. You could probably put just about anything in here and it would be delightful. Let's let that cook down just a moment. And then I'm going to go in with one 14.5 ounce can of light coconut milk. Ooh, looks so sumptuous. Okay, let's get that all mixed together. This is going to add some serious richness, as if there wasn't richness already with all these delightful spices and butter. And that's thoroughly mixed, and the heat comes up just a little bit. I'm going to turn up the heat just a bit. Alright. Now I have here 1 pound of chopped frozen spinach that has been thawed, and 1 pound, a generous pound, of broccoli that was frozen and has been thawed. You could totally use fresh, just use what you have on hand and what you like. And I'm going to go into this lovely mixture we've got going here. And then one last thing is going to go in. Let me just get these mixed. Wow. It looks good. I wish you could smell this. Where's smell-o-vision when you need it? Okay. It's nice and mixed. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cornmeal. And this is going to make this thick and rich. Those juices from the broccoli and spinach are going to be released, and it's going to become rich with this cornstarch. So we are going to do exactly the same thing as we did with the dal and bring this to a simmer and let it cook for 15-20 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Our pots have been simmering away, and I failed to tell you that the saag is covered as it simmers away. And there it is. It's cooked down beautifully. I'm just going to give it a quick stir. And season with about, well, I'd say a little less than a half teaspoon of salt, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. To wake those flavors up. Just gonna give that a quick stir. And then we are going to move over here where I have my immersion blender set up. I'm actually gonna bring you closer. Sorry if it's a bumpy ride. There we go. Okay, here we are. All right, I have my handy dandy immersion blender. I also refer to it as a soup pusher. Yes, I am weird. And you can puree this or not puree this. It's totally up to personal preference. Some authentic versions are pureed to a very smooth consistency. I'm going to leave a little bit of texture, but give it a blitz here. And hopefully I do not get it everywhere. Just go around and different spots and get those big chunks that I see. Just a little bit more. it too far. Let's stir that up. And that is ready, friends. And it smells delicious. Okay. I'm also going to add a wee bit of salt to our dal that's been percolating over here. Just maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon. And we're going to stir that up. And I'm going to fish these bay leaves out. I want to chomp down on those. And that is ready to go as well. So let's build our plate. All right. There we go. Here's our saag and our dal. Here's our plate, and to serve authentically, saag and dal is served with pillowy flatbread like naan, or thin and blistered flatbread like chapati, but also rice. And I have prepared some here that I cooked with a few cloves and crushed fennel seeds, and then sprinkled in some nigella seeds as well. So here it is. Let's make our plate. Get a little bit of rice. Some saag. Forgot to get a spoon for the dal. Sorry, totally out of camera. Alright, there it is. Now, sometimes saag is served with paneer, which is a soft cheese that is very similar to ricotta, but has had the moisture pressed out. And to sub, I'm going to serve with just a little smattering of feta cheese, just as a little substitute. So there we are. Esther's inauthentic saag and dal with a little rice on the side. Let's give it a little taste. Have some dal first. There we are. Reminds me of my father, whom I enjoyed cooking with very much when I was young. The flavors are pungent. That turmeric is powerful. It's delicious. Very good for you. Let's try some of this saag with a little feta on top. Oh, that's kind of a big chunk. Okay. Greens, exquisite greens. I'm in love. Well, friends, thanks for joining me. I hope you try it out. It's delicious. Peace and love to you all. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.